Senator Patterson.
Thank you, Chair. President, I do want to start on that topic of the schedule of Senate estimates. Could you explain for the record what the reason is that you weren't available to appear during the scheduled estimates?
Certainly, Senator Patterson. The presiding officers carry out two international roles. The Speaker is always the lead delegate for the International Parliamentary Union, the IPU, and the President historically is always the lead for the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Now, in previous years, when it's fallen during a sitting period or an estimates period, we have simply tried to put together a different delegation. But as I'm a member of the executive of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, I felt it was important for me to undertake that role in the executive role.
When did you... So it was just the one conference, is that right?
That affected estimates, yes.
Yeah. And when did you first become aware that there would be a clash between the conference and the scheduled Senate estimates?
I would have to take that on notice, Senator Patterson, but it was a good couple of months beforehand.
Do you know when your flights were booked to attend the conference?
No, that's a matter that my office takes. I can take it on notice.
Thank you. Because you wrote to the committee on the 17th of September, and I think it was on... Well, you wrote to the Chair, and then on the 23rd of September, I think the committee was notified about it. Obviously, the schedule for Senate estimates came out in the sitting calendar when it was released after the election on the 22nd of May. So if the conference was scheduled a long time in advance, there would have been plenty of time to notify the committee rather than just 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Senate estimates. Did you advise the committee at the earliest opportunity that you wouldn't be available? Again,
Senator Patterson, they are arrangements made by my office, so I would have to take that on notice, as are airfares. As you would be aware, in relation to airfares, we often book them in advance and then change or cancel them because international airfares are a horrific price.
Sure. Did you consider sending anyone else in your place to represent Australia?
I can't be proxy, Senator Patterson.
So there are votes that you have to cast in person that no one else could cast on your behalf, for example, or...?
Well, that's my understanding. I was also running for a position on the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, so I've now been elected as the Treasurer.
Okay. Did you consider allowing the parliamentary departments to appear in your absence in the scheduled sitting week?
That's not appropriate, Senator Patterson. Parliament departments always appear with their minister, or in my case, with the President.
It's not strictly true, though, is it? Because it's often the case, for example, if a minister is delayed by a meeting, that a Senate committee can commence before the minister gets to the table.
I can't make a comment on what the government ministers do, Senator Patterson.
Mr Pye, you were a precedent of parliamentary departments or agencies appearing without a minister?
Richard Pye, Clerk of the Senate. I'm not aware of a precedent for that, for parliamentary departments, Senator.
How about government agencies or departments?
There have certainly been some occasions where government departments or agencies have appeared for a short period of time without a minister at the table. It's referenced in Odgers, I think.
Is there anything in the standing orders that prevent the Department of Parliamentary Services or the Department of Senate appearing without the President?
No, Senator. Nothing in the standing orders. Certainly something that could happen. I mean, there'd be some limitations on the evidence that we'd be able to get, or the scope of questions, I guess, that we'd be able to be helpful with the President not here.
Sure. President, did you consider anyone appearing on your behalf with the committee so that the scheduled estimates could proceed?
Who would you suggest, Senator Patterson?
Well, the Deputy President. The Deputy President, for example? Well,
the Deputy President is not across all of the issues. Having served in both roles, the difference between the Deputy President's role and the President's role are very stark, and there would be most matters that a Deputy President would not be able to answer because they are simply not part of, that is not part of their duties.
President, are you aware of any instance of the Deputy President appearing on behalf of a President in the past?
No.
Mr Pye, is there any precedent for the Deputy President to appear on behalf of the President?
There is, Senator. There was an occasion, I can't drag the year to the front of my brain, but I think it was in the early 90s, when the Deputy President appeared, and that was after the Senate had passed a motion authorising the Deputy President to act as President for a couple of weeks whilst the President was away.
So if the Senate had sufficient notice that the President wasn't available, the Senate could have moved a motion to authorise the Deputy President to appear?
I think that's probably right, Senator, yeah.
We've heard that parliamentary departments can appear without the President. We've heard that the Deputy President can deputise for the President. President, no one understands the scrutiny function and its importance better than you. You are the custodian of this institution on all of our behalf. And I don't think we would tolerate a minister just skipping estimates because they had some travel to do, unless it was, of grave importance to the nation. Do you understand the importance of the Senate having the opportunity to ask these questions in a timely way, in the usual scheduled way?
Senator Patterson, first off, I take issue with the way you've characterised this. Part of the role of the President is to be the custodian of this place in partnership with the Speaker. A second important role of the President is to represent the Parliament at international forums. Of course, I take my role very seriously. I have, on one occasion, missed being here, and that was on the death of my father. Every other time, all during COVID, I attended every sitting. I think my record of attendance in this place speaks for itself.
Sure. And
process. Can I just say that the letter, which I'm trying to recall in my mind now, that was sent to the committee, to me, on behalf of the committee, was a request. It wasn't a "I'm not coming." It was a request, and the committee discussed it. And Senator Sharma ably presented some concerns, and the committee decided to make this choice to schedule another time. At that point, of course, Senator Patterson, you're right, we could have indeed gone to the Senate for an order to have the Deputy President, but that's a historic piece where the committee made a decision to accept that the President was away and that we would schedule another date. So just to be really clear, that the committee made that decision.
Thank you, Chair. I have a copy of the letter and I'll table it for the record.
Thank you.
Nothing in the letter is phrased as a request. In fact, I'll quote the relevant part of the letter. Pursuant to our previous discussions, I write to formally notify you of my absence from Australia during the period of 26 September to 13 October due to official parliamentary business obligations overseas. I note the proposed schedule for supplementary budget estimates 2025 falls within these dates. As such, I will make myself available for a spillover hearing at a time that suits the committee. So it's not actually a request, it's just informing the Senate.
Yeah, thank you for that, Senator Patterson.
And interestingly,
what that reminds me is where it says previous conversations, I did have a conversation with the President's office where they advised me that that was the case. I said, in my opinion, it would seem reasonable just as long as we could get a swift date that suited the committee. And at that point, but obviously it would come to a committee decision, not my decision, but that I was comfortable with that, given the weight of the international travel that the President was undertaking.
Well, I think that's a whole other issue because it's not up to a committee chair to
I just said that.
Make assumptions on behalf of the committee.
But I just said that, Senator Patterson, and I said that is why it went to a full discussion of the committee because it is not my place to make that call.
Yeah,
but I did receive the initial request verbally and then followed up by a letter which went to the committee for a full discussion. What
was the date of the verbal request, President? Do you or your office remember that?
Senator Grogan has just said that she had a discussion with my office. Again, I would have to take that on notice. It wasn't a discussion with me.
Thank you. That would be helpful because it would be good to know how much lead time there was prior to this letter being written because, of course, the committee didn't learn of this until the 23rd when it was scheduled, even though the letter was written on the 17th, and we now learn that there were conversations even prior to the 17th. So I think it is important for the committee to know when this was first flagged.
Well, it's not that you now learn, Senator Patterson. It is in the letter.
Yes, but Senator Grogan just confirmed that it was sometime before the 17th. In any case, President, to be fair to you, I do understand the importance of the international representation you do on behalf of Australia. I am not someone who thinks that that is not worthy. It is a very important function that you perform. My view, though, is that it's not more important than facilitating the scrutiny function of the Senate, which is the whole purpose of this institution. It is what we do. My view, scrutiny delayed is scrutiny denied, particularly when we have such profoundly serious issues in the parliamentary departments. I mean, there is a NACC investigation into DPS underway. My colleagues are going to pursue a very important issue in the media today that goes to parliamentary privilege, which is incredibly serious. I mean, the Senate must have the opportunity to scrutinise these issues in a timely way, and if the President's not available and doesn't make alternative arrangements for the committee to still conduct its work in a timely way, then I think that doesn't allow us to perform our function.
Senator Patterson, we are meeting in a timely fashion. I have made myself available. The NACC matters have been ongoing for probably 10 months or more. I'm happy to be corrected on that. The committee has been informed at every step of the way since the Speaker and I terminated the Secretary in December of last year on a matter due to a lack of trust and confidence. So the committee has been absolutely kept informed, and it's quite incorrect for you to somehow create this image that the scrutiny is being avoided because this matter has been delayed by a couple of weeks. We've also answered questions on notice. We've dealt with OPDs in the Parliament. So the scrutiny from this committee and individual senators has been live and has been respected and has been answered at every opportunity.
Well, except that we didn't meet at the scheduled time, and it's quite possible that we would have prosecuted some issues at that hearing and then needed to schedule a spillover, for example, to further examine those issues. And so we're denied that opportunity by the 3 weeks that have passed since. Anyway, I don't want to overemphasise this. I appreciate your position.
Senator Patterson, I'm just going to advise you that you are at the rotation mark. If any of your other colleagues have questions in this session, now would be the time for them to have the opportunity. Otherwise, because as our
I was just about to wrap
prior,
up, Chair. I just want to put a final question on notice, and then I'm done for the Senate, which is just if, President, you could take on notice the cost to taxpayers of that travel.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
I will also say that this committee is its own master of its own destiny. It can choose another spillover day if it is so required. So none of those matters, Senator Patterson, have some finite date. That is within the control of the committee.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.